I'm gonna go all in because I don't think you got the space.
What's up, folks? This is Justin from Books, Bricks, and Boards, and I have what's called an all-in problem. You see, whenever I get interested in a game, I have the tendency to go all in, all the way down the rabbit hole. I end up buying tons and tons of books, adventures, expansions, premium upgrades, and that makes it very dangerous for me to try to pick up new hobbies. You see, when I bought Massive Darkness 2, I had to go all in. When I decided I wanted a one-up machine, I wasn't satisfied with just one. I had to go all in. And it was this very tendency of mine to always go all in that kept me from trying Chip Theory games sooner than what I did. You see, I heard about Too Many Bones from a friend who'd seen their demo at Gen Con before the game released. And I had an opportunity to get in as a pre-order whenever they started selling it from their web store. And I said, you know what? Too expensive a game because I know I'm going to want everything for it, and there's no way it could be worth the price. Well, fast forward a year later, and I've got all of Too Many Bones. I've got all of what was available for Hoplomachus at the time. I ended up pre-ordering Triplock and Cloudspire. Last year I picked up Burn Cycle. I've subsequently bought all of the expansions for Cloudspire. I've got everything for Triplock. I've pre-ordered the Unbreakable content for Too Many Bones. I've got Riffle. And with Chip Theory games now getting into retail and having two more games that are already out there as late backer pledge possibilities for you guys, of which I'm a backer on both, I thought I would explain the virtues of Chip Theory games and why, to me, that company is worth going all in for. So, without further ado, these are my 10 reasons that I think you should go all in on Chip Theory games. So why would you want to go down the rabbit hole that is Chip Theory games, knowing your table could soon end up like this, and your wallet could soon end up like mine? And yes, my wall is decorated by the old boxes for the older printings of the Gearlock expansions. I also have a tendency of replacing the different games and expansions when new printings come out. Like I said, I have a problem. But I'm going to start us out by giving you my number 10 reason why you should go all in with Chip Theory games, and that is going to be the genres that they cover. You've got fantasy role-playing with Too Many Bones. You've got gladiatorial strategic combat with Hoplomachus. You've got a combination of a MOBA / RTS style game captured in a board game with Cloudspire. You have a futuristic robotic office crawl adventure with Burn Cycle. You've got a quick-paced lock-picking game with Triplock. And soon, you're going to have bite-sized dice chucking with your 20 strong. And you'll have a opportunity to play the biggest IP that the computer RPG world knows of, that being the Elder Scrolls, with their Betrayal of the Second Era that is on GameFound right now. And at my number 9 reason you should go all in with Chip Theory games, all of their games are designed for solo play from the ground up. It's not cooperative play disguised as solo play. It's not a bolt-on to the regular game that is clearly not actually playing the same game. All chip theory games are designed from the beginning with the goal and the succeeded goal of being playable by one person or cooperatively. This means that if you have odd hours, limited availability of gamers, or you just enjoy playing the game more than those around you do, you're always going to have that opportunity with your chip theory games. And that puts their value a little bit higher than a game where you have to make all of the logistical arrangements to get a group together. Now, don't get me wrong, I've never had a chip theory game that I didn't enjoy playing with a group, but the fact that I don't have to have a group adds a lot of value for me. At my number 8, it's the community. While I mentioned in my intro, I got my start with chip theory game through Too Many Bones, I also mentioned that I quickly found Hoplomachus. The reason I did was because I was looking for Too Many Bones content on YouTube, and I found Ricky Royal's amazing Hoplo videos playing The Rise of Rome. I was instantly hooked and had to get their all-in bundle that they were offering at the time. So I got the first shipment of the Hoplo games with the side-stitched edges for their mats. And it was really a revelation in how solo games could work for me. I never really thought about them being able to be a strategy game, which Hoplo most certainly is. And Ricky Royal's not the only one that does great videos for the Chip Theory Games licenses. You've got Liz Davidson, you've got the One Stop Co-op Shop gang, and so many more that will help you learn. They'll get you excited about upcoming content or content that you're just not exposed to yet. And it's this very community that makes Chip Theory Games as accessible as they are, despite being such a small company. And for my 7th entry in my top 10 reasons that you should be all in on Chip Theory Games, the production values. Chip Theory Games makes components like nobody would possibly imagine could be done. Their dice are beautifully heat transferred and they have great, vibrant images on them. Their chips are heavy poker chips that have a nice, satisfying clack whenever you smack them together. Their cards are PVC. You don't have to worry about spilling water or beer on them. Instead of standard play boards, they have mats made out of neoprene with side-stitched edging and great artwork. Their player aids are made out of the same PVC that the cards are. And they give you a ton of components in every single game. And every component has the same level of detail that you see right here before you. These are the standard components. These aren't the upgrades. This is just what you get when you buy a Chip Theory game. And for my number 6 reason that you should go all in on Chip Theory Games, have their storage solutions built into the product. Many of their early games, they built the boxes with the idea that you would be able to store all of the add-on content right in the box and not just chuck it in there in a means that would leave it disorganized and banged up, but with some real thought put into it. This is all of the expansions for Cloudspire that are out now, and I have them all neatly tucked into this space here. With Too Many Bones, where they've finally created so much content that you can't possibly fit it into their original huge box, they've created a trove chest which will handle all of the content. And with the expansion, even the upcoming Unbreakable content, I understand. And this level of care in their storage goes a long way when you're talking about games that are lifestyle games that are going to be sitting on your shelf for years, maybe even decades to come. You also notice the back of this box has custom art that depicts images from the game. That's not just with Cloudspire, that's all their games. They put that level of detail into the inside of the box. So imagine how much care they take when they're building the rest of the game out. And for my number 5 entry into the top 10 reasons that you should go all in on Chip Theory games, I have the setup and teardown. This is related to the storage and organization options that come with their games. This is the newest printing of Too Many Bones, and you'll see when you open the box, everything has a place and every place has a thing. All of the space is used perfectly and everything is very organized and clean. Because of this, I was able to set up a game of Too Many Bones in less than 5 minutes yesterday. I was able to play the game, and then when I was done, I was able to put it back up in this condition in less than 5 minutes. Form follows function, and it all works together beautifully.
I don't think you're giving us our due credit.
Oh. Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
And for my number 4 entry on why you should go all in with Chip Theory games, you have all the options. Now, most of their games have some form of health chip, which is perfectly fine. You'll notice these are all unopened. That's because I've replaced basically all the health chips from all of my Chip Theory games with their premium health chips, which are heavier and have a more satisfying weight to them. Of course, you've heard me talk about how great the dice are that come in the base games, and that's true. But they also, for some games, have special alloy dice. And these are just gorgeous, and they're worth the extra money if you can afford it. They've got these great foldable dice trays. These actually will pop open and lay flat, and you can stick them in the box if you're going to take your game on the road with you. They've got amazing mats like this one for Cloudspire, or this hilariously overproduced tube that fills with the entire Triplock game, or this amazing folding dice tower. And there's so much more. You can get a pop-up book for Too Many Bones, or you could have a board plushie, and who doesn't want a board plushie? What I'm saying is, Chip Theory Games really supports their games, but also their fans. They know we want them to go over the top, and so they do every time. Number 3 on my top 10 reasons that you should go all in with Chip Theory Games is their tight, fun gameplay loops. Now, I know that they receive a lot of bad feedback for they're somewhat difficult to understand rules at times, and some of that's quite fair. Turns out it's really hard to put in writing how some of their games work, but what I have found is once you figure out how they work, there's a certain Chip Theory logic madness to it that just plays out very smoothly on the table, and while you'll miss a rule or two, the spirit of the game will remain, and the fun will never leave your table, and the loop never gets old for me. I've never sat down and played a game of Too Many Bones or Hoplomachus or Cloudspire where I've said, boy, I wish I had that 3 hours back. That's because the gameplay loop is exciting and fun, but digestible. Once you get it down, and it does take some time, you're really going to enjoy your time with Chip Theory games. And for my number 2 spot in my top 10 reasons that you should be going all in with Chip Theory games are their player aids. Now, I know I gave them a little bit of a hard time about their rule books, but to be honest, and this may sound strange, but I think their games are made with the bargain that they're a little bit harder to learn so that they're easier to play. And I think that that shows really in their excellent player aids. So this rule book, if you're learning the game strictly from the rule book and not from any of the excellent Liz Davidson Learn to Play videos, then it does take a little bit of extra time. But once you learn the game, these player aids are invaluable. Very, very rarely do I ever have to open that rule book because everything I need to know are on a few player aids for all of their games. So once you have the basics down and you have that chaotic madness that is Chip Theory games gameplay loop logic in your head, all you're going to need 90% of the time is the reference sheets for the game at hand. And that makes them play far better than they learn. And that is something that you will appreciate every time you dive into one of your games by Chip Theory games. What's my number 1 reason that I think you should go all in with Chip Theory games? It's the support they provide. Anytime you have a rules question or a problem with something you've purchased from them, the folks at Chip Theory Games are amazing. They should teach classes to other companies about customer support. I've had very few issues with the volume of Chip Theory games that I've purchased, but anytime you purchase as much from one company as what I have from Chip Theory, there's going to be a few issues. But unlike most companies, I've never had any problems getting support. Also, anytime that there's any sort of a rules dispute, I notice that they're very active on the Board Game Geeks forums. And anytime that there's been any sort of a hitch or problem in one of their campaigns, they've been very open and honest with the community about that. Whenever Hoplomachus had a bit of a production snafu last year, with some companies, I would have been quite worried about my pre-order, but not with Chip Theory Games. Yeah, I had to wait just a little bit longer to get that, but it was well worth it. And even though they're a lot bigger than they were when I started playing their games, Chip Theory Games is still a very small company relative to the competitors that they're up against. And they act like it. They value you as a customer, and they treat you as a friend. So while I have no relationship with Chip Theory Games other than that I love their games and I buy a lot of their games, I know none of their staff, I don't get paid by them in any way, I think that you should go all in on Chip Theory Games. And right now, you have 2 great opportunities to. Late backers are still available as I film this video for 20 strong. If you've never tried a Chip Theory game, this is a great entry point. Matter of fact, I talked to one of my friends that has been talking about getting in on a Chip Theory game for quite some time now. I talked him into getting in on that because for $70 you can have everything for that game, and it's the same great production values just on a smaller scale. Also, there's late backer for Betrayal of the Second Era, the Elder Scrolls game that takes a little bit of the DNA from Too Many Bones and some of the DNA from Hoplomachus and a little bit of DNA from Cloudspire, and then they take it and they meld it all together with that Bethesda goodness that is the Elder Scrolls, and they're going to smash it into what I feel like is going to be one of the biggest games to come out next year. I think everybody's going to be talking about it, and now is a great time to get into Chip Theory games. So if I haven't convinced you yet, I'm not likely to. But I hope you enjoyed the content. I hope that you will share your comments about chip theory games, maybe your concerns or questions that you might have on any of their games. And while I'm not an expert, I'm just a fan, I'd be happy to chat with you about it in the comments. And if you did enjoy my video, be sure to check out some of my other videos. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, this has been Justin from Books, Bricks, and Boards. Good gaming, and God bless.